Everyone. Welcome to SPED 5040 Foundations of Effective Instructional Practices. My name is Ty Williams, and I will be your instructor this semester. I'm really excited to meet all of you and to get to know you. I do want to let you know that while technically I am Dr. Ty Williams, you can just call me Ty. My students, I was a special ed teacher for 32 years, and my students always called me Ty, except for when I taught at the Juvenile Detention Center. And so if you were to call me Dr. Williams, there's a chance that I might not respond. But if you call me Ty, for sure, I'm going to turn around. So I want to let you know that I do what's called a flipped classroom. And what that means, and we'll talk about a little bit more in just a second, is that each week you will have videos that you will watch before you come to class. And that is going to be where I cover our asynchronous course content. And again, we'll go into that a little bit more in just a second, but I did want to let you know that this will be your first video and to make sure you look on Canvas because there will be others. So we're going to go ahead and jump in, and then I'll share all kinds of information. And when you get to class, know that you'll have the opportunity to ask questions, and I'm happy to go over anything more in depth. But this week, in addition to the like getting to know you first day of class type of things, we are going to be talking about and do an introduction to evidence-based practice and effective instruction. And that is really what this course is all about. This is a foundations course. And in this course, you're going to learn about instructional strategy, about instructional planning, writing lesson plans, and you're going to learn about something called evidence-based practices. And what evidence-based practices are practices that have gone through rigorous assessment and investigation through research, and that it has shown that these practices have shown to be effective and to have positive outcomes. And so those are the types of things that we're going to be teaching you and that you will be using in your classroom. So what you learn in this class, you will use every single day as a teacher. All right, so let's jump in. So what are we going to be doing this week? Well, we're going to do introductions because I want to get to know you. I want to get to know who you are, what your emphasis area is, or what your emphasis areas are, and then what your interests are, just to get to know you as a person. We're going to talk about our course structure, what that looks like. You're going to need to make sure before the first day of class that you read the syllabus because we are going to play Foundations Jeopardy! And that is where we're going to be asking and answering questions in Jeopardy! Style about the syllabus specifically. I'm going to do an introduction and a brief overview of explicit instruction. Later in the week, we're going to have faculty members come and do introductions, and these will be faculty members from the Special Education and Rehabilitation Counseling Department. And then we're going to start to learn about, again, just an overview of writing IEP goals and objectives. And if you have not heard of what an IEP is, it's an individual education program. So it is an education program that is written for an individual student, and it's only for students who receive special education services. Every week, you're going to have learning objectives. They will be in our PowerPoint and they will be on Canvas, but I will not cover them. I just want you to know they're there in case you have an interest in what we would like you to learn by the end of this week or to have knowledge of. So who am I? I said I'm Ty Williams or Dr. Ty Williams, but who is actually teaching you? What are my credentials to be in here and teaching this class? So let me tell you. I started in special education as a 16-year-old, so that's me when I was 16, and that was a long, long time ago. I started in high school as a peer mentor, like many of you, in a class for students who had moderate to severe intellectual disability. I got my bachelor's degree from the College of Charleston in Charleston, South Carolina, and I got it in special education with two emphasis areas, and that was back in the day, it was called mental retardation, and right when I graduated, it changed to mental disabilities, and now we call it intellectual disability. You might also hear it referred to as a cognitive disability, but also in learning disabilities. So I've worked on the mild moderate side, and I have on the moderate severe side and on the mild side. I am a national board certified teacher. And what does that mean? That means that I spent a large chunk of a year doing a big project, multiple projects, and then it was evaluated on a national level, and they determined that I knew what I was talking about, basically. So I'm a national board certified teacher twice over. So I have done the initial certification and the renewal. I got my master's degree from East Tennessee State University in advanced studies in special education with a focus on research and working with students with complex support needs. I was an intern for the Department of Education with the Office of Special Education and Rehabilitative Services. And I got my PhD from the University of North Carolina in Charlotte, where I got a PhD in special education with an emphasis on curriculum and instruction for students with complex support needs. And now I am happy to be an assistant professor here at Utah State University. Well, that tells you what my credentials are to teach you. But like, who am I really? Who am I as a person? And that's what I want to get to know about you is who are you as a person? So as a person, I am a person with a disability. I have a hearing impairment and I have an auditory processing disorder, although they are mild. But there may be times where I ask everyone to get quiet because I can't hear somebody, or I may ask you to speak up. I am the parent of a child with a disability. This is my son Zeb, and he is about to turn 20 years old, and he is currently in college in Charlotte, North Carolina. And he is twice exceptional. So that means that he is gifted. He was gifted or is gifted in the area of math, but he has ADHD or in addition, he has ADHD. I was a special education teacher for 32 years. And let me tell you, you are going into such a phenomenal profession. I love being a special education teacher every single year that I taught. And I am a multimedia artist. So here's some other stuff you need to know about me that's important. Like I said, I have a hearing impairment. So I need you to speak up. If you are a person who has a quiet, soft voice, please speak up when you are talking to me or when we are in class. It also means that when someone is talking and I'm trying to listen to it, I might need it to be a little quiet, okay? Not only that, I have something, lucky me, I have something called thyroid ophthalmopathy. And what that means is I have an autoimmune disease and it affects my eyes. And so sometimes my eyes are red, sometimes they're dry, sometimes they feel like they have grains of sand in them. So if you see me doing something like this or using eye drops, just know that that's what's going on. All right, so let me tell you what you can expect on day one. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to do introductions in small groups of four. I want you to, this is what you're going to do in your group. You are going to share your name, and you can share your preferred name or your birth name, whatever you go by. I want you to share your hometown so we know where you're from, what your program or your area or areas of emphasis are. I want you to share one personal goal for this semester, and that does not have to be academic. While it can be academic, it can be anything. I've had everything from people wanting to organize their household, or they wanted to read more, they wanted to go outside and walk more, lose weight, hang out with friends. So one personal goal that we can check in on you with. And so that's what we'll do is check in throughout the semester. And then one personal insight, and that's going to be on the next slide. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get together as a group and you're going to determine which one of those personal insights you want to share with the whole class. And so these again are the things we're going to look for. And with that personal insight one, I want you to either share one life hack, a life hack about anything at all, one hidden talent or skill that you have, and that's up to you, whatever that is, or a random fact that you love for no reason. And so I'll give you an example. This is a life hack that I used as a student is that when I would get tired or when I had been doing a lot of work and I needed to do readings, such as your weekly readings for this class, this is a good idea. If this works for you, is I would switch it to text to speech. And so then what would happen is text to speech would read the document to me. And while I would follow along, some people can just listen, but remember I have a hearing impairment, so I would follow along. It lightened the cognitive load. It made my workload less by having it do text to speech. So that's my life hack as a student. So, what are your expectations for this class? One is you need to make sure that you read the syllabus because you are responsible for all of the information that it contains. And you'll sign a document that says that you've read it. So, I want you to make sure you read it because it gives you really important information about the class. I'll also want you to know that my information is on the syllabus. So you can go back and look, and all of my information is on there. You're going to see that it tells you where my office is, and it also lets you, it has my email address on it. I want to encourage you to reach out. Reach out if you need support. Reach out if you don't understand anything. If you just want to hang out and talk, reach out. I have office hours, and I can tell you, your professors sit there. We wait on students to show up. We hope students will show up during our office hours. But not only that, I'm happy to meet with you in the evening. I'm happy to meet with you early in the morning. I'm happy to meet with you on the weekend. So as long as my schedule allows, I'm happy to work around your schedule. But the most important thing is that you reach out and let me know if you're having a hard time, if you're falling behind in your work. Again, if you don't understand anything, if you just want to run something over, or if college life is just getting tough and you just want somebody to talk to, reach out. I'm here, okay? So, what I say about the syllabus? Well, I know that it's actually not that interesting, but it is important. It is important. So, I'm going to say again, make sure that you review the syllabus before the first day. And the reason that we want to do that is because we are going to play Foundations Jeopardy! And you will be answering questions that come straight out of the syllabus. So things like course basics, what are the grades and the points like? What about late work and corrections? So again, just to let you know, give you a heads up, that's going to be on the first day of class. Now, I told you that we're doing a flipped classroom. Well, what is a flipped classroom if you've never had one before? Well, if you're in a traditional classroom, what the instructor does is the instructor, prepares the class and all the materials, and then they bring them to class and then they deliver it. They deliver it through a lecture most often. And so you as a student sit there and listen to the lecture. You might do some in-class activities and you're going to take notes, and then you go home and I assign you homework, and that homework is oftentimes how you demonstrate your knowledge. Well, with the flipped classroom, it's exactly what that sounds like. I flip that. So what I do is I provide videos ahead of time. And so if we'll talk about the course load and the homework for this class, but anywhere between I think at the least it's maybe been an hour and 15 minutes up to 2 hours a week. I will record my lecture and you will watch the videos with the recordings before you ever come to class. Now, I try to do these in about 20-minute segments. So that means if you watch one or two a day, you can get through them in the entire week. And it doesn't take you more than, again, 20 minutes a day most often, or 23 minutes a day. Um, so I provide the lecture up front before you ever get to class in the videos, and the only way to pass the class is to watch the videos. Let me tell you that. You will not pass the class if you don't watch the videos. So you watch the videos, you listen to the lecture, there are going to be questions that you're going to respond to, and then when you come to class, that's when we do the work. That's when we're doing the things that you typically would do outside of class to demonstrate your knowledge. So we'll do activities in class that you'll turn in for a grade. You'll have time in class to work on your projects. You'll have time in class to write IEP goals, for example. And then that is the stuff that in the past you would have done at home on your own, but you'll do it in class with me. You'll have the support of peers. You'll have me there to work with. And so again, it really is a phenomenal, to me, class structure. And so you're able to receive, again, much more support than if I was using the traditional classroom format. And there have been some proven advantages to the flipped classroom. So it promotes peer interaction and collaboration skills. There's higher student engagement because you're not just sitting there like, listen to me going wah, 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 wah. It fosters independent learning. It gives me the opportunity to individualize your attention and support. But one of the things that I love the most about a flipped classroom is it makes learning the central aspect of the class rather than my teaching. So you're not coming to class to listen to me lecture. You're coming to class to engage in learning. All right, if you by any chance are a student with a disability or you suspect that you might have a disability, I highly encourage you to reach out to the Disability Resource Center, and you'll hear us call that the DRC. Make sure that you reach out as quickly as possible so that they can either go ahead and provide you with the accommodations that you have a right to, or that they can talk to you if there's any type of assessment or anything needs to be done to look to see if you might have some kind of a disability or need some kind of additional accommodations or supports. I am happy to help you if you need to reach out. I have done everything from sit down and talk with a student about when you reach out to the DRC, what you might say or what you might expect. I've looked over emails that students have sent or are planning to send. So again, I'm happy to help you in any way you can. All right, let's talk about AI. We are in college now, so AI is a big deal. So, the use of artificial intelligence to generate any kind of assignment, anything at all in this class, whether it's responses to assignments, it's projects, activities, in-class activities, exams, anything like that, it is strictly prohibited. Does that mean that you can never use AI? No, there can be some times that you can use AI, and I will tell you, and I will have it in writing, but you can't use it to generate, to write things for you. But you can use it kind of like a search engine. So here's an example of a way you can use AI. You can put in something like ChatGPT and say, what skills might teachers teach using constant time delay? Constant time delay is an evidence-based practice that we will not cover in this class. But you could say, like, what type of skills would a teacher teach using this instructional strategy? But what you cannot do is say something like, write a lesson plan teaching a skill using constant time delay. And then you submit that lesson plan as your work. You're not allowed to do that. And not only that, it is forbidden and it is a violation of the Code of Student Academic Integrity. And so there are penalties in the university related to the misuse of things like AI. So I want to let you know that it is my responsibility to uphold those policies. So when in doubt, it is your responsibility to speak with me about your intended use in advance and get approval prior to using AI. And when you do use AI, it has to be cited. So again, this is something that at least once a year, I have a student who uses AI inappropriately and then ends up with some type of a consequence. So my recommendation is don't do it. Everything that you submit to my class is run through an AI checker. It just comes through the university. So again, please do not use AI to generate anything. It may not be used at all to answer class preparation questions, for example. All right, we're all in this together. Our goal is for everyone to make it through this class, for everyone to make a B minus or higher, and for everyone to build a foundation for your future careers. And we need to remember that we rise when we help each other. So I really would like to build a really supportive classroom culture so that we are free to be in a place of learning and non-judgment. Now, I did tell you that faculty members from the Department of Special Education and Rehabilitation Counseling would be coming later in the week. So one of the things we want you to do is to think about a question, something you'd like to learn about the department, about your classes, about your degree area, about practicum, anything that you have. But I want you to write one thoughtful question that you would like to ask, and then I want you to submit that to Canvas. And I want you to submit it to Canvas because I send it to them ahead of time for them to look over. Just to kind of give you an idea of what you can expect for the week, before class, you're going to have video and reading assignments each week. I want you to know that your preparation work, your class preparation work, is due before the scheduled class session. So that is due on Tuesdays before we have class. So you need to complete all readings. You need to watch all assigned videos prior to class. Now, I want to tell you, I am wise enough to know that a lot of students don't do the readings. Either they read some in the beginning and then it starts to wane as the semester goes off. Some people never read, some people scan. There are people who read everything. The readings are required. But what I really want to say is that the videos are essential. That does not give you a pass on the readings. But what that says is that you will not pass the class if you don't watch the videos. They are required coursework. So if there is a week, I'm not condoning not reading again, but if there is a week that you only have time to do one thing, you need to do those videos. But again, the readings are there because they support your learning. So as you watch the videos, there are going to be questions, and I want you to respond to any questions or tasks that are in the videos in a Word document, not a PDF, in a Word document. And so what you do, this is our procedure, and it is important when you're a teacher to teach your students what the procedures are so they know what the expectation is. And so for all of your assignments, it is expected that they will be submitted in a Word document, that you will first write the question on one line. It might take two lines. You'll write the question, and then you're going to write your response on the line or lines before it. After it, so that I see the question and then I see the your answer underneath. You're going to have some in-class activities. The in-class activities are due by 11:59, the last day of the week, which will be Thursday. So by Thursday night, anything that was due in class, unless I've said otherwise, it is due. And so you are going to put that with your video participation. So you're going to submit your video participation by Tuesday before class starts. And then before 11:50 on Thursday, you're going to submit any work that you've done during in-class activities for that week. And they will be in different documents. So you'll submit for each participation at least 2 documents. And for those in-class activities, the same thing. I want you to write the question or whatever the task was, and then I want you to write your response on the next line. Now, there will be some in-class activities that you're going to submit for a separate grade, and I'll make sure I tell you about that. But remember, we'll be doing things in class that you used to would have done, and last year they did as homework. So those will get a separate grade from your participation grade, but I'll make sure you know which one those are. All right, that is the end of this video. So what I want you to do real quick is do a check-in on your understanding. Are you like, I've got it, I'm cool with all this information, I'm a little bit shaky on it, or I'm completely lost? So do a self-check-in with you. And then this is important. If you have any questions, make sure you write them in your participation, your video participation. I want you to write it in the very end of it. That's where I'm going to be looking for questions. And anytime you have a question and you already have that document open, just put questions and then list them and put them down at the bottom, because then when we're in class, I'm going to come back and I'll address your questions then. All right, I look forward to seeing you in class. Don't forget that you have other videos this week for your asynchronous course content, and I look forward to seeing you the first day of class.